Lighting is one of those exciting categories where they aren't appreciated by any of the major awards bodies, but they are crucial to a film's success, and any director that doesn't choose to harness its power is refusing to create a classic. There is no classic film without great lighting. It doesn't exist. It's also in many ways a forgotten art because before we could digitally alter a shot to make it so the lighting is there, we had to rely on great production crews during day or night shoots. Production crews in general must have been stronger because they were more necessary, it seems like. Luckily, there's been a bit of a swing back in the 2020s towards better lighting, serious production value, and physical sets. It's vitally important, and whenever I see it done well, it gives me pleasure. Deep down in my stomach. Now, I know in some ways this award will be partially a color correction award as well, and I know that these are two completely different categories, but at the moment I have neither the time nor the professional ability to differentiate the two properly, so I'm hoping that's something that I'm going to be able to tackle next year. That's on me, not being a better critic. I hope to have that changed in the future, but for now I'll have to settle for the knowledge that I have, and I will hopefully learn more as I continue this process. That being said, the nominees are A Complete Unknown. While I have some issues with the film, the lighting is certainly not one of them. It had a great soft hue to it that kept the picture feeling homey and contextualized the story well. It was wonderful at utilizing natural light, especially through windows, and it made apartments look like canvases. I was especially pleased and jealous by their ability to capture dim atmospheres. Everybody looked perfect in folksy nightclubs, and the yellow was very mellow. Conclave. This is another film that I had issues with in some areas, but the director was very clear with what they wanted from a technical standpoint. The colors popped, especially at the church they were congregated in, and the lighting had a way of showing the immense beauty of where they were huddled. Each setting felt like its own piece of art, and yet the lighting was able to make the whole thing cohesive. I'm a big fan of what they did here. Dune, Part 2. This is one specifically where I think the lighting and color correction begin to merge. I sometimes find that Denis has an uninteresting color palette. His films can be far too desaturated, causing the rest of the film's visuals to suffer. The first Dune movie was a prime example of that to me. I'll get to that more later, but Dune Part 2 was better than Part 1 in just about every conceivable way, and in this case it has everything to do with finally letting the color hounds loose. The sand popped so hard, the orange absolutely striking the viewer. The desert scenes were wonderfully well realized, and the way he was able to use natural sunlight brought the large production down to earth. It was the black and white scenes as well that struck me. Any good photographer will tell you that that kind of switch leads to a heightened focus on the technicals, because there's no color to fall back on. Exhibiting Forgiveness. Exhibiting Forgiveness is such an underrated film this year, especially given its visual prowess. The film was created by Titus Kaphar, a brilliant photographer in his own right, so extending his abilities to film, it's natural for lighting to be a strong suit of his. What captured me most here was his ability to utilize lighting in a modern design. It can be difficult to capture a house like those in the movie because it has such a cold architectural design, but Kaphar was able to accentuate its properties in a way that felt subtle and yet seriously good. Flow. Yes, animated films contain lighting, and they can contain good lighting too. This film had lighting so good it was metaphorical, the sun being a beacon for the animals to go towards. I almost never fuck with lens flares, but for some reason this film was able to make them work for me. I think it has to do with it staying in the character's perspective, like it contextualized the shock that comes from these events taking place. The sun can blind you and surprise you. La Chimera. Bro, this film goes so hard. It uses natural lighting to display the Italian countryside in a way that feels nostalgic and lovely and existential and childlike. It doesn't hurt either that the locations they're shooting in are breathtaking. I love Italia, and I hope to visit there someday. Look Back. Another great example of an animated film that uses lighting to their advantage. It's striking here and all-encompassing in the way a lot of modern anime films do it. The only thing is that here, this film does it better. Look Back does a very good job of having lighting that's in your face, but not too much that it becomes a distraction. It's just enough that you can believe it would happen in real life, and so not crossing that line allows you to suspend your disbelief and appreciate more what you see on screen. Maria. I have some issues from the perspective of this film. I think it's probably the worst of Pablo Larraín's aristocratic woman biopics. I can't deny, though, that it's an intriguing visual experience. What gets me is the pure amount of lights that they use to light. So much light. Light everywhere. The outdoor scenes are also experimental and vibrant. Nosferatu. I love how intentional this project was and how detail-oriented the technicals were here. There were specific design decisions that only worked because of the lighting, like a certain smile or a longing from the distance. The Gothic format also leads to incredible creativity, and the odes to German Expressionism allow Eggers to have a lot of fun here and make an exciting, twisted product. Queer. Man. Hot diggity dog. What a scrumptious survey of lights. This film was a beautiful tribute to classic Hollywood with the kind of flair that only modern technology has to offer. It was moody and saturated, allowing the color to pop and the stars to offer the best they have. Gorgeous yellow hue that gave the film the atmosphere it needed, and it made the production feel like a movie, as Harry Styles would say. It wasn't naturalistic, it was heightened, and it took advantage of the art form. Santos. Funny enough, this one is kind of like the opposite of Queer. Purely naturalistic, but wonderful at what it does best. It's the most subtle out of any of the films nominated here, but I love the way the light just takes the backseat and guides the story softly. I feel like a broken record at this point, but natural lighting is really the best, especially when a tree wrinkles and the light shatters into many different pieces. I love it when it does that. The Brutalist. Jesus Christ, what a unified production this was. They're so magnetic the way they use light here because it's one of the only films I've seen that feels comfortable keeping their characters in darkness for such long periods of time. It makes everything go round story-wise, and each moment you see the character becomes much more dramatic. It's raw and authentic. It's one of the only films I've seen that makes lighting a genuine character in the film. Talking about lighting is just the best. It's my favorite of the technicals, and actually, when you push me on it, I can't really explain why, but it just is. Maybe it has something to do with it being something you can't fully create. It's not like paint, you have to control it or divert it or capture it. The art is already there, you have to find it. The winner of this award exuded total control and made such a powerful image that it's impossible to deny. It's inspiring to watch and makes me want to push myself harder visually. The film that does that the most has to be The Brutalist. I'm absolutely floored with what Brady Corbet got to do here. This feels like a textbook masterclass, one that professors will be showing their students for years to come. It was dark and twisted. It perfectly encapsulated what the movie was going for thematically. What an absolute ride. Special shout out to Queer for having such audacious lighting as well. It took advantage of the medium and offered some really cool effects. I'll give it a silver turtle. So that's going to do it for me. Please let me know if you have any ideas for lighting the rest of my videos. I won't be able to take advantage of it until the end of this whole award show thingy, but I know it's not perfect. My philosophy on light is that I don't necessarily, I want it to be well lit, but I would like my lighting to be interesting more than it is professional, if you know what I mean. So if you have any ideas for how to best capture that, I'd love to take suggestions from comments because I think lighting is very interesting to me, even though I'm not very good at it. I think, or at least I'm not technically knowledgeable at it the way that I want to be. Yeah, that's it for me. I hope you eat something interesting tonight. I hope you look at the menu and like, maybe I will try the maybe I will try the pig feet or the cow brain or snake. If you ever had snake, I've actually never had snake before, and I really want to try it. I don't know where to get it. But if I ever find snake, I'll let you guys know in a video because it's pretty interesting to eat snake. Let me know if you've eaten snake before in the comments, and also like and subscribe if you've eaten snake. If you haven't eaten snake, don't even bother. I don't even want your I don't even want you. Okay. Um, I'm gonna go now though. I think that's enough. So bye.